what are some of the larger scale problems that you see sometimes smaller companies kind of prepare for, but perhaps are a little bit of a waste of resources at their current scale?
Yeah, I think a lot of times, I think you and I touched on that a little bit too, is like a lot of times they're like, they want to try to use so many platforms. Whereas less platforms is more because they have less moving parts, right? I think less catalogs, the smaller the company gets, right? And it a lot of times depends on their persona. So if it's a pretty technical company, we have a digital native business. They're very different than working with a Fortune 50 company, right? So I think what happens is a lot of times sometimes they'll try to act like that, and the complexity grows too much. And sometimes they also try to build their own, which I think is another thing of spending time where they shouldn't. At least that's my personal opinion. And then where the bigger companies are actually trying to do the reverse. They're trying to like actually consolidate, and because they learned that lesson. It's but the thing that's nice about being a newer company, smaller, is that you're nimble. You don't have as much tech debt, so it's easier to make the shifts. When we make the shift from all these platforms that are large customer, there's more work involved. But the good news is it's getting easier on both sides. As we've seen, a lot of times folks talk about how they want to build AI, but like AI stuff is really helping us with code conversion as customers move and things like that also.
No, it's interesting your point about on the larger scale ones, you are a little bit less nimble to make some of those big changes, right? And reminds me of a company that I worked briefly at where the SAP system was like from 20 years ago. So like the version was like the very old version, and it was working great, but it was beginning to have some issues because of it being so out of date. But the problem with that, the migration effort for even just upgrading even within the same system from 20 years ago, that was massive. But that was a massive effort, and integrating it with modern platforms also it was a massive effort. Like the the field names and everything else was still in German, and very fun, very fun problem. So
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that. There's a really large product company that's in healthcare that I think they've acquired somewhere in the like probably 30 companies. So, or we worked on a project with them actually taking SAP from 30 different legacy companies into one data platform. And just the CDC work and integration was very difficult. We're working to make that much easier. You saw how we're partnering with SAP. We're sidecarring, Databricks. You can run our application with SAP because there's so much valuable data with SAP. Customers, retail and manufacturing customers cannot live without that data. So I think the good news is companies like SAP are actually looking at data differently now too. So I think that, and looking at a company like Databricks, like 3 years ago, SAP may have not even, and Databricks may have not been on SAP's radar, and now we are. And the reason is because of what folks are doing with data at these really important businesses in the United States and elsewhere.
no, and I love it too because SAP is very good at what it does. So I think it allows them to stay focused on what they really excel at and drive their customer value there. And on the flip side, Databricks can come in and do what Databricks does best. So I think I'm personally excited about that as someone that used to have to do all sorts of work around SAP to get it out from SAP to do this and that, this data science type work outside of it. I'm excited for that partnership. So
Yeah, we are too. I think it's definitely exciting. I mean, customers are excited about it too. I can every time we bring it up, and a customer that has one or both. I mean, most time we're in. Every time I'm in a customer that's in certain verticals, they have SAP. And when we talk about how we can make that easier and to do more advanced things now, there's a lot of excitement for sure.